Hi, this is cassette player and DVD player. Switching on. It's reading the CD. There's a CD or DVD inside. It starts to read. There's no loudspeaker connected, but if I press the open, hear an engine, but nothing happens. On the bottom side, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. We put them in box 1. Well, it turned out these 3 screws are shorter and these 2 longer, so the 3 shorter I put in box 1, the 2 longer in box 2. Doesn't seem to get it open. There are 4 screws on this side and on the other side, and those 8 screws we put in box 3. Think, why am I all giving this information where I put the screws? Because if I reassemble the device, then I look at my own videos, I can see which screw came where from. There are another 2 screws in here, we put them in box 4. And remove the volume button knob. Maybe I should also remove, it still does not open, I should remove 5 screws. This one, the single one, near the antenna, goes in 5. These 2, the audio outputs, go to 6, and these 2, also the speaker outputs, go to 7. 6, there's a long screw and there's a short screw. Also with the speaker wires, there's a long screw and a short screw. I suspect that somebody has already repaired it before and has mixed up the screws. I succeeded to partially open it. I have to remove some wires to make a bigger distance between the backside and the machine. This is for the antenna receiver or whatever, so this tag should be up. You can just put it out, put it in. Now we are looking to the back side of the machine. I want to remove this part to better get work on the front part. So I'll disconnect this connector and this connector below, and I will unsolder this black wire. I want to go inside this box. This is the CD player, but I don't see any chance to get it out. It's all wrapped inside those flat cables, and on the other side it's in there. But I think this PCB is connected to the cassette recorder. Maybe I can remove this, so I will unscrew these 2 screws and I put them in box 8. I just show you those 2 cables, these 2, they are going outside and then going inside, because I think otherwise they will rest on the heatsink. So to remove the PCB on the side, I will first disconnect these 2 connectors. Then it goes to here. It is twisted with connected there, but this can't be removed, so must we go to the other side. Oh, there's no problem, that is this one we already disconnected, so we don't need to disconnect that. But I see here, you can see it on the bottom, disconnected. You can't be removed, and I can't hardly see where it's going to. But I found out it goes to here. So this last connector I'm pointing to should be removed from the PCB. Also this one should be removed. And this wire goes to here, and we all will remove this wire or connector and this connector, because this connector is also going to this back ferrite core. So I repeat, there are 3 connectors below each other. We call the connector 1, 2 and 3. Connector 1 is the flat cable that is already removed on the other side, this to the antenna amplifier. The second connector goes to this connector, and the third in line goes to the on the front side, the last on the front side. I made a mistake. This connector you can't remove. It's going to here, this coil. It is hooked under this little boat metal string. There's another forgotten wire connected, this one in the middle. It's going through side to this PCB. We should disconnect it here. And we still discovered another connector. This one is going with this loop. This connector you can hardly see, but it's. And we still found another connector, this one, which is going here so to the engine of the cassette deck. And another connector here. The black wire is going into the cassette player. But this wire, this connector, is tie wrapped to the PCB. We will cut it off here. Well, we do not need to cut it off. It is wrapped around this edge, so we can just leave it there. I did manage to get the connector inside the tie wrap, so now I can put it through. This is the bottom side of the board, and there's still one connector that's going to the cassette recorder. It is tie wrapped here, so this one we have to remove anyway. Remember, the tie wrap I removed here also keeps this plastic foil on its place. Oh, here's another one. There's another tie wrap that keeps it on its place. But we don't need to remove the plastic foil. We just leave it as it is. Then we find another connector here. It goes by this wire into the front onto a connector here. The same wire colors, of course. It's easy to find back. So finally, the PCB has completely disconnected from the mains. I hope I can reconnect all wires in the right place. So now we will find out how to dismount this black box from the frame. I don't see any screws. I see a few cables, flat cables. Maybe from the front side I don't see any screws, or from the underside neither do I see some screws or whatever, but we will find out. I can see that the black box is connected to the front PCB by a screw here. And there's another one over here, difficult to see. But anyway, this is this one. But The first screw is only reachable, maybe, no it's not. I have to remove the PCB first. And the PCB is mounted with 2 screws. This is 1 screw and the other is here. So we will first unscrew these 2 screws. We put them in box 9. We use this tool to open it because we can't get access with a screwdriver because of the cap. Now we can access both screws that are connected to the front PCB, and we'll put them in box 10. But the system is still complete, and then finally I pulled off the lid and then it all comes loose. Look, that's what we have now. First we want to separate the PCB and others from the black box, from the CD player. We can get out this flat cable, this we're pulling. We can get out this connector, it's going to there, the flat cable is going to there. And we pull out this connector, which goes to the underside somewhere of the PCB. Instead of this front connector, we could have disconnected this PCB connector. Then we don't have to remove the tape, but we leave it as so. We have removed the tape and attach new tape or the same tape when we rebuild the system. So now the CD player is totally disconnected from the rest of the system. I once repeat the issue with this system is when opening the CD player, when pressing the open knob, you hear the motor, the engine running, but it does not go open. So I think something is wrong with that elastic spring or whatever. With elastic string, I mean a rubber band. How to get to the inner side? You can just lift off the black part, the box, but first we have to remove the tape. But also this flat cable is glued to the box, so we have carefully tried to pull it off. So pulling the flat cable and carefully cut it with a knife. Keep it this way orientated so you don't accidentally get the flat cable. So it finally came loose. Well, there it is, the inside of the CD player. We now are going to remove 4 screws, 1, 2, and on the other hand 3, 4, and we put them in box 11. Here's how we separated both parts. The underside, this is the engine that drives the CD. This is the engines that open and closes the door. I now want to get out a CD tray to the left, but it is stuck behind some pin, difficult to see. This pin is on the CD tray, so I think we must remove the CD motor and so to get access, but I understand you never must unscrew these 4 screws because they are specially calibrated to level out the CD player. So we'll try to remove those 2 screws from the back side, and then we put them in box 12. As I remove the screws, I can move it up, but it is still stuck at the front. So maybe this is not a good way to open this. I saw something as hvw202503031304. So I go to YouTube, find AZTech, and find how to dismantle a CD player. I did some hits, but the first hit it's another kind, but it says there is a little cog wheel on the front. You can turn it with a screwdriver, and then the CD tray will open. So I looked at the front, and yes, indeed there is a gear. So I first, oh, it's stuck, reassembled screws from box 12. I put myself a little note in box 12 that it is occupied, so if I have to remove more screws, I will not use box 12 again, but I will put them in box 13. So turning the gear to the right opens the CD tray. I can get out the CD and I see the engine, the motor rubber band. It's very slippery and old, so we have to replace this, and then the CD door will work again. I then replaced the old rubber band with a new one. I just did do a guess. This is the diameter of the inside of the rubber band, 26.8 millimeters. It looks quite stiff. If I turn the motor wheel, then this will also turn and it will open and close the lid. I think with this the final repair is okay. So now we can start reassembling the whole radio. First we take the 4 screws of box 11 and put them in the 4 places here. I do this by wringing the screw into some straw, so you don't get nervous when placing screws back. You can turn it a little bit in and remove it. Now we are going to place the top on the CD player. So I looked at my disassembly videos, and then I saw where this cable has to go through there. I even managed to glue it again without using extra glue. Use this tape to bring it back to original. Then I reinstalled this connector. I used some glue to tape it here because it didn't glue anymore to this connector. Well, I use this modern type of support, otherwise it will flip backward. Now first I will gonna connect the black box to the front PCB here, and on the other side with 2 screws from box 10. Now I want this screw to go into there without fumbling around, falling screws, try again, shaking, whatever. I want to find myself a tool to do that. So this is my box where I keep all things I dismantled or whatever. Don't know what to do with it. And there I've tried different things, tubes. I found this ballpoint pen. This screw fits nicely inside. As you can see, I can now simply put the screw inside without getting nervous or whatever. Well, then I use 4 reusable tie wraps to wrap it all up, otherwise the front will tilt back. Now it will stay in place. You can see it in the underside, it still does not. I have to tie it a little bit more. Well, this is not such a good idea because you can still see I have to mount it somewhere over here, but yeah, that's impossible. I put a tie wrap a little bit lower on the edge and it stays there, so that's a good solution. So now the underside is closed, it will not move again. There are 2 places to connect the PCB to the underside. Here must be some screw and there must be a screw. I forgot in my dismantling video to tell, but I put them in box 9. Still a little tip. Take care of that this cable is outside and not going through this side. Now to mount the PCB, there are two holes. One is for the protrusion and the other is for the screw. On the other side it's the same story. I still have to mount the screw on this position. Difficult to reach there. I use this thing, but it's not magnetic enough, so I use this, and now it's more strongly connected. The screws are in. Now I connect it. Disconnect, and this one I have to connect. I forgot that when you put them out, you have this small border, this black rim, you have to put it this way, and then you can easily put the cable in it and then push the back border back. So all looks right now. I got me the side PCB out of the box, and then I realized my workbench is not anti-static, but maybe it could give some trouble, although those old electronics is not that sensitive. But I decided to connect myself to earth. Starting to reconnect the first wire, this one with the colors red and white and black, I think, connected to this connector. Then I connected connector CN901 going through the cassette player. This is the wire that is used with a tie wrap to keep that plastic foil closed, but we'll do that later on if all wires are connected. I managed to get this black cable, difficult to see, using the original tie wrap. Just wrap it around the corner and put it into here. Connects connector CN902, which is the power supply for the cassette motor. Then it's the turn to connector CN305/A with a loop going to this connector here, below this other connector. Now we are going connect this white connector, go to over here, and go to this connector. Difficult to see, but there it goes. And this cable is hooked under that small hook there is, and the other side of this hooked cable goes into this connector. So done. Now this wire has to be connected to the front of the PCB. There is a black flat cable coming out of the front, and we have to connect it to this one. There are three connectors here. 1, 2, difficult to see, 3. The lowest goes to the front PCB on the edge, this one, and the other one in the middle goes to this connector on the side. This hook is meant to keep this cable away from the heatsink. Well, I think all cables are reconnected now. I then re-tie wrapped this cable, so also this plastic foil will stay solid. So from box 8 I mounted the side PCB onto the frame with these two screws. I first will remove those reusable tie wraps. All connectors are reconnected, so I can put the backside onto the main frame. First we will hook up the wires so that they don't get mixed into, I use a rubber band. This is my rubber band storage. I use a reusable tire wrap. Never get twisted to other things or to themselves. So these cables are now out of the way. I forgot something. I first have to reconnect those connectors before closing the lid. So I reconnected connector 1, connector 2, the flat cable connector, and I soldered the black wire on the edge of this metal case. And I made a mistake. These two connectors, the wire should be behind, not here, but they leaning on the heatsink, but it should be here through this holder. So I can go opening this screw, try to push them around. After struggling for 10 minutes, I unscrewed the PCB screws to get it loose. I managed to get the wires in their correct place. With a lot of fumbling, I finally succeeded to put the back sides connected in the right way to the front side. Now first, we will use the 2x4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4 on both sides from box 3 to fasten this together. Now we have to fasten these two and these two. Remember, there was a long and a short screw on both. So I think we put the both long screws in here and the short screws in here. These are in box 7 and in box 6. In box 4 we have a longer and a short screw, but they came from here, so we put them in there. Then we have the two long screws that go into here on the underside, and we have the 3 shorter screws that go in here, here, here. It's time for the CD tray cover to be placed. Turn the wheel with the screwdriver so the CD tray is coming out. I did pull it off by just pulling it towards me, but that's not a good idea. You have to go from up to down, you have to slide it in this way. And then it will fix. Now we can close it. Yes. Missing only one thing, that's the volume knob. We put it in there. Volume knob only fits in one way, but it's kind of rotary encoder, you can keep turning. Well, as I do not have speakers myself, but from another repair cafe project, there was some speakers, so I connected them to my system. I want you viewers to be part of my experience, because I did not test it if it worked. I just connected it into the mains. And let's see what's going on if he switches on. Well, at least I did see something. Oh, and now it's gone. Maybe I have to. Oh, fuck. Oh, okay. Reading. But now it's the matter, does it open or close? Yes, 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 yes. I put it in the CD. Does it close or have you to push? Reading. Volume, but I don't hear any sound from the speakers. Oh yes. Nice. Some church music, whatever. Okay, the rest I think it's fine. Hey, the volume knob. You have not to turn it too quickly. These hexadecimal encoders. Okay, this is fine. Now we're gonna try the radio. I see a source, USB, FM. This is only the volume, but how do I tune then? I said this, maybe this. there's no antenna connected. Well, to my surprise, I do not have some coaxial male connector. Well, I strip my wire into my own some room antenna, put it just in here. Let's try it. A Sky Radio. Yes. But the nicest thing is this. It works again. It's CD3 by replacing the rubber band. But you have to take apart the whole radio before you can go to get to the CD player. But anyway, it all works. I'm very happy. And thanks for watching. Thanks to the Repair Café in Dalfsen in the Netherlands.